I just wanted to just let everyone know I'm so excited about, we have Orlando coming up, guys, and we also have our local premier schools. I know Rick and his team are going to Kansas City because that's awesome. He's got like about 6. And, you know, Linda Peach, who's kind of the quiet one on our team, has 5 people that she's bringing. And she's not even able to go. Her and her husband have a wedding conflict or something, so they can't go. But she's got 5 people to replace her, so we'll forgive her. Okay, we'll forgive them for that. So I am just so excited about them, and everyone's been working hard. We've got an incredible month going. And I know most of you know Melody, but I would like to introduce her again, you know, to you guys. Melody is just an incredible. Now, are you a millennial? Are you in the millennial group area or right in there?
Yeah.
I'm just excited. I'm excited to have Melody on our team. She's an incredible leader that every one of you want to emulate and follow. She has a work ethic that puts me to shame. So, and you know, she's just, I'm so proud of her, and she is just really tearing this up. So what she has to share, I don't know. So I'm going to be taking some notes too. And I know whatever she's sharing is going to be worth listening to. So thank you so much, Melody, for leading out on tonight's call.
Thank you so much for having me, and I appreciate you pushing me to do this because it's a good way to stretch and grow myself personally. And as I was thinking about what I would share tonight, I actually had a few different ideas and stuck with one that I think is really pertinent to something I've been wondering ever since I got started, kind of, you know, with actively building this as a business. And for those of you who may be on Slack, you may have seen the video done by Eric Worre, Should I Lead with the Product or the Business? And so this call tonight is specifically kind of just reflecting my thoughts from that. And also, I'm excited to share that I have validation for what he says to be true with the fact that both sides do work, either leading with the product or the business. There's really no wrong way to go about it, even though this has been a controversial topic for a while. So I'm actually really, really excited because one of my amazing team members and someone who I absolutely love working with is on the call tonight. And as we are going to be getting started, I actually have requested for her to share her story and how her approach with leading with the product has been so successful. So I want to introduce to you Chanel Hughes. I really appreciate that she has taken the time to get on the call. She's a busy mom. She's a homeschooler. She has her own business owning an adult foster care center, and she has 6 kids. So if anybody says they don't have time to do this, she's indication of proving that false, because you can fit this into the nooks and crannies of your life. And so it's just been a real pleasure to work with Chanel. She's a Pro 3, and so I'm really grateful for the opportunity that we've gotten to know each other better through working together. So Chanel, if you'd be willing to share your story.
Yeah, I would be one of those ones that Melody said. So if you think you can't do it, you can't, because having 6 kids, homeschooling, and owning an adult foster care home, I did not at all want to even think about the business side. I just wanted the help of the product side. You know, something was not working, and the meds that I was experiencing with adult foster care home were not working. They always experience the side effects of pharmaceutical drugs, but not the positive side. So after talking with Dr. Hyde, who was our doctor, he introduced me to Protandem. And after researching it and talking with Rusty, I decided that I was going to try it at the AFC home. And I could not believe the results. Even the families were amazed at the results. But again, I was like, no, I don't want any part of the business. I don't understand the business. I don't have time to hear about the business. I just want the products. And so I was just telling people about the products, and that was it. I didn't even know about really the business, or even that you could make money or anything. It was just all products for me. So, but the products were working, and the products, you can't use the products without turning it into a business. So for me, it's like, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? For me, the product came first. And so it was just, I just used the products. And of course, when you're dealing with 90-year-old women, their children are in their 70s. And so they were like, well, if it's working for my mother, maybe it can work for me. So then they started, getting the products. And then once they started getting the products, then of course their children are still only in their, 50s, late 40s or something. So even that generation was like, well, if that's working for my mom and my grandma, it can work for me too. And pretty soon the products were just happening. And then people were like, well, maybe I'll just sign up to be a distributor because I want so-and-so to use it too, and so-and-so. And I kind of was just like, I don't want to take your business. If you want to, they would call me and say, do you want me to, can you sign this person up? And so I was just telling them, I know there's a business side to this. I'm not in the business side. I said that. Apparently I was without even knowing. I was in the business side because all of a sudden I started getting checks and I'm like, I have no idea what these are coming from. But so they were just ordering, and then I was like, well, there's a business side to it. I don't know anything about it, but you can talk to Melody. And next thing I know, someone was signing up, and somebody else was signing up, and somebody else was signing up. And they never heard one word about the business from me. I mean, they came to me and said, is there a business side too? And so I had people, once they were asking, and other people, it was just like, when the product is so good, this is my experience. I understand there's a product side too, but a business side too. But my experience has been, when the product is so good and it's working, it sells itself. And I can honestly say I don't know how many distributors I have underneath. I have like 10 or 11 now. I joined in May, and I'm a Pro 3. I have 10 and 11. I think there's like 40 some preferred customers, and I've never mentioned the business to anybody. But if they've mentioned it to me, or I've told them I know this is a business, I've sent them to Melody. And now I'm starting to learn about the business because I have so many people coming to me telling me they want to learn about the business. And now I'm, making more money, that it's like, okay, I need to take note of this business. I guess I'm in business. So it's kind of funny. I even got a call from, I think it was Lori from Hawaii. And she's like, so how's your not business going? And it was just kind of hysterical because I'm like, yeah, I guess I have a business, don't I? It kind of just happened itself. And I think that's just all from the product. The product sells itself. And so I just have always not even mentioned the business. I've just given people the product, and they can't help but fall in love with it. And then I talk business. So it's worked for me that way.
Awesome, Chanel. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah.
So don't you just love her enthusiasm? The fact that she's sharing what she's excited about is part of why it really works for her. So I want to kind of just hash out a little bit more what Eric Worre talked about in that video, and some of the statistics that he talked about, because just to share my story, I truly believe that, as Eric Worre said, leading with the business or the product, both ways work. And for my story is that I have been the sole income provider for my family while my husband's been in grad school, and very, very much living paycheck to paycheck. I graduated with my dental hygiene degree, but even with working in that field, just with the economy it is and the jobs that are out there, not getting enough hours can equate to not getting enough dollars, even if you do have a good professional trade. So when my dad connected me with Rusty to see what he had to share, he completely convinced me of the products. Like, I was completely like, okay, this is amazing. But I was really, really thankful when he shared that there was also an opportunity connected, because I really needed a change in my life. When we listened to Skip Campbell's or Seth Campbell's High Noon Philosophy training, I was definitely at high noon. I didn't need the 5 follow-ups. Granted, I did, watch some of the videos that Rusty had on YouTube, and I wanted to make sure I was completely in, because I've had my rodeos so far, so to speak, with network marketing before, and there were some things that I needed to have clear in my mind before I could really get actively involved. But so I jump in with very much a business focus, because yes, I'm excited that there's the science and the research and all of that as a medical professional, but I really needed the financial benefit from the business side. So that was definitely the approach that I was taking. So it's just neat to see the contrast between like Chanel's story, where she was like not mentioning the business at all. Like I've had to share with her, okay, Chanel, it's okay to tell people it's a business. The first meeting I did for her, she wanted the people at her adult foster care home to learn about the product, but she did not want me to mention the business at all. And I, was posed with the question, like, do I drive an hour and a half to just do a product science info meeting? And I decided, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. So I did that, knowing I may not even get any distributors out of this. And I didn't. I mean, I think it was one customer that it started out with. And, she even got up and said, this is for the same price as what I get it for, so I'm not making any money. Little did she know she actually was. But so the thing that I think is really, really important when we ask ourselves the question, should I lead with the product or the opportunity, is that you as an individual should share what you are personally excited about. Because when you have personal excitement, it's not a script that you've memorized. It's not just going through the motions, but it's something that you have passion and excitement for. When you share what you're share what you're personally excited about, and listen. That is a key word that I want to emphasize, because when you listen to people, they will usually tell you what they need. So you may personally be excited about the product, or you may be excited about the business. But let's say you're talking to a friend and they're telling you, from my standpoint, I'm excited about the business, right? So I'm wanting to find people who are excited about this business too. Well, let's say I'm talking to a friend and they're telling me about their sick relative and how they haven't been feeling well and all this. And if I'm just continuing to push the business, I'm not listening to what they're telling me. Now, from Chanel's standpoint, if she just is talking and talking and talking about the product, and somebody is telling her, I lost my job, I can't afford this, that would be a time to say, okay, well, there is an opportunity, because there really is a way to make a significant income, or even add on to an income that you may have already. So listen to what people are saying, and they will usually tell you what you need. And what they need. And another thing that I found is that when you listen to people instead of always talking, they feel this emotional connection. Because people like to talk, they like to share what they have going on in their life. So when they share that emotional connection with you, all of a sudden they feel heard and they want to hear you. So there will always be people who join specifically for the business, and there will be those who join specifically for the product. And that being said, there may be distributors who join specifically for the product, like Chanel. She got a lot of products, so she was a distributor, but she wasn't even really aware of that fact to begin with. She just wanted a lot of product. And Eric Worre said in this video that about 70% of people who join for the product will shift their focus to the business. So we should never be discouraged if someone's starting out from a product standpoint, and there's nothing wrong with having that approach to our business. There is about an equal percentage of people who will shift from the business, and for whatever reason, distractions of life, things that come up, family, whatever it may be, they will shift from initially having a focus with the business, and let's say they haven't had initial results that they were hoping for. So in turn, they kind of go over to the other side where they're consuming the product. And there's nothing wrong with that, because in this industry, our goal is to have passionate product supporters. And that may be someone who's just a preferred customer. That may be a distributor who maybe isn't actively pursuing the opportunity, but they may continue to be using the product. So if someone is scared of the business, we should encourage them to start experiencing the product first, because there really are a lot of misconceptions in the industry that we're in. And I really believe that Rick and Lily touched on that hardcore a couple weeks ago. I really, really enjoyed how they led out in that call. And this industry really is incredible, but there are people who have misconceptions of it. I mean, Chanel was definitely one of them. She did not want people thinking she was part of a scam. And in our area here in Michigan, being close to Grand Rapids with Amway, there have been a lot of people bombarded by network marketing. So it's a really awesome opportunity that we have here to share a product with people that really, really works, because when they get excited about that, they may later ask you, well, can you tell me about the business? Or it looks like you have a good thing going here. You know, you're such an awesome, great, friendly group of people who are motivated. You know, I want to become part of that, you know. So if someone is scared of the business, help them become a customer first and let them slowly learn about the product or about the business. Okay, I said that wrong. If someone is scared of the business, let them use the product and let them slowly learn about the business. Don't feel like you have to push them to feel like they have to do that right away. If someone is excited about the business, bring them in to do that, but don't put all your eggs in one basket and think that they're just going to take off and work it as hard as you do. Because I've already experienced in my business people who are excited, and then it's like, oh, you're not doing anything, are you? And so, you know, you do want to keep finding those new people who are really wanting to work with you. So I am thrilled. I love this video that Eric did, because the statistics show that both ways have success. And we, I believe, have leaps and bounds advantages to some of the other companies that are out there because of the product we do have. I am continually just thankful that this product and opportunity is combined. It could easily be disconnected and it wouldn't be what it is. And just like I shared at the beginning, you know, my focus initially was more business oriented. As I have helped people like Chanel, who is excited about the product, and also some of my other distributors, and I have had people call me and tell me, I am eternally thankful that you shared this with me. This and has shared stories and told me, you know, how this has helped their family members, their loved ones, or even just their acquaintances. It has brought me so much joy, even more joy than a paycheck, And I just praise God for that, because here, I set out for, a new journey and something that could supplement my income, so we weren't so tight month to month. And I have found it so much bigger than that, and so much more rewarding and so much more fulfilling, because I love helping people. So if I can help people have financial freedom or help people have great health, that is more meaningful than anything else. So as Eric Worre talked about, the people who start with the business, they are going to grow to believe and love the product that much more. And so it's really amazing how this shift just goes both ways, as I have just had continued belief and faith in the product. I want to share a little bit more of my story, because as a dental hygienist, I think one of the most challenging things is how much physical pain I experienced from my job. And so even though I enjoyed what I was doing, I was constantly in pain. I developed chronic pain within a year of working. I had nerve pain, neck pain, back pain. It was miserable. I would come home at 5 o'clock and just want to be on the couch and then go to bed. And I didn't even know, can I do this the next day? It was so much pain. And it's so crazy, because when Rusty first shared this with me, I was thinking of all of my relatives who could benefit from the product. And I didn't even think it would be beneficial for me. I was like, oh, that's kind of going to be wasting money if I do it. I want it for my husband. I want it for this person and that person, but I don't need it myself. But then I was like, okay, well, Melody, if you're doing this as a business, it's ridiculous to not use it yourself, because I'm not hypocritical. Like, if I'm going to be sharing something with someone, I need to be doing it myself. So I start popping these Protandim pills, and I'm just like, I'm 23. Do I really need it? And I remember telling Rusty this. He's laughing too. Anyway, so then I start sleeping better and having more energy. And 2.5 months later, I'm just like, I become aware of the fact that my chronic pain associated with my job is gone. Like, I would come home, my husband is in physical therapy school, and I would come home basically every evening begging for a massage, just like, can you please help me? I even had some of his teachers try to help me. I even went to the chiropractor, and sometimes I would feel a little bit of temporary relief, but my chronic pain was still there. And so I'm not saying I'm never in pain, because my job is really hard on my body, but my nerve pain has been the biggest thing that I'm just thankful it's gone. And so I'm like, it's so funny. I'll be driving to work some mornings if I'm super rushed, and I'm like, oh man, I forgot my Protandim. I need to keep it in my purse. And here I'm this person who thought, oh, I don't need this. And now I'm just like, okay, I can't live a day without it. So I hope that's encouraging to all of you in your journeys, because what we have here is so amazing. I think that is a quote that I've gotten from Brian. He always has this enthusiasm. What we have here, guys, is so amazing. And really it is. And what I found is that when I got involved initially, I had a big dream and a little bit of faith and a little bit of evidence, so to speak, because I saw the research. But as I've learned more, and as I've researched more, and as I've had people share their personal testimonies, my faith has grown, my evidence has grown, and my commitment has also grown. And that kind of leads to the next thing that I want to share, because as I was sharing at the beginning, we need to listen to people, because they will typically tell you what they need. The same is true for the people we're working with. Some of our team members may have different goals. They may have a different rate at which they want to actually actively work this. And that is all associated with the why. Why are we doing this? What is driving us to share this with people? I love how Chanel has had all this experience in her adult foster care home where she was just completely fed up with the side effects of drugs. So for her to get excited about a product is a really big why for her. One of the most amazing stories that she shared recently, maybe you could even share that quickly about the one who passed away recently. Would you mind sharing that?
Oh,
Chanel?
no, it went at all. There was one of the ladies that went on it. So the first meeting we had, it was her family that registered right away. So they were the ones that were willing to try it right away. And shortly after, she was on it for 2 weeks because she was probably our worst one too. So it's like the worst one was willing to try anything. And within 2 weeks, she was recognizing family members. She was talking more. She wasn't so grumpy when we, would need to change her or clean her or anything like that. Her just everything. She was more agreeable. But she continued to do better with her mind. But eventually, I don't know, it's probably 6 weeks later. I mean, she at least got to have 6 weeks. That was just wonderful. But she had a major stroke. And I think as the stroke happened, she also had experienced a heart attack. And so we immediately added the NFR1, and we did it twice a day. And they came in and told us she's not going to make it through the night. And that was like the 1st of July. And so we doubled up on the Protandim right then, added the NFR1. It was just like, well, we'll just see what this will do. And she made it through the night. And then she made it through another night. And then she made it. And 4 nights later, she kind of came out of it and was like, I'm hungry. And she wasn't strong enough to get off oxygen, so we couldn't move her from bed, but she was strong enough to eat. We could make her smoothies, blend her food, and she was eating where she was getting a little bit stronger and staying awake, but she was still sleeping a lot. But we continued on the NFR1 and NFR2 and RF2. I'm sorry, I say it wrong, out of order. Anyways, so she was staying on that, and she just, even the hospice nurses had to come in and say, I can't believe this. I've got to come in and see her for my own eyes, as we were telling her what was happening. So they came in and they were just like, this is crazy. And she just continued and continued all through the month. And towards the end of the month, she started getting fatigued and not drinking, not so much. Her family was just telling her it's okay now. It's just, they were seeing her awake, but just not getting out of bed, and the oxygen wasn't coming up. But one thing I did notice, and this is the first person I've had die on Protandim, is we didn't have the death experience like we normally have with other patients. And I don't know if it is Protandim. Like I said, it was my first, but she literally just passed away very peacefully with her blood pressure stayed stable, temp, everything stayed stable, where it normally is like high, low, all over the place. The death rattle starts, modeling starts, pain starts, where we're giving them Roxanol for pain, to manage the pain. She did it with absolutely no Roxanol, no anything, just stayed so peaceful the whole entire time, and then just passed away. It was just amazing experience. The best one in 17 years that I have seen. And so it was the first one on Protandim too. So I chalk it up to that. Interested to see what the others happen, but it's really, really cool.
Thank you for sharing. So as you can imagine, for someone who has that, has had, maybe more difficult experiences in the past, seeing someone have that experience and even have an improved quality of life for their last days is very, very significant. And here, this is an over 90-year-old woman who in total, I think, used Protandim 2 months. So it's pretty amazing. Imagine what it's doing for our bodies when we start using it a little bit earlier on in life. But so what I was getting to is really connecting with your team members' whys, because as we learn about in these statistics, there are times where we may transition from becoming active to becoming more of a customer. And that can be from maybe not having success right away, or different life events that may pull you away from working this as a business. But what I would like to take the last few minutes to open up the floor for our team to just kind of unite together and share why we're doing this and of what's driving us to actually have success. Because, you know, money really isn't everything. There are so many bigger things. Sometimes money is what allows us to have some of those things that may be part of our why. But I would love for us to just share, you know, what our whys are. And, you know, I really believe, in closing, what I'm going to share is that our why has to be big enough that it's bigger than any of the negative things that come in our path. Because we will have people who are like, oh my word, I can't believe you're doing that. It's such a scam. We'll have the difficult phone calls where people, you know, blow up in our faces, or maybe non-supportive family. There's, you know, a whole list of different things. And with this business, it can be a little bit of an up and down, you know, oh, a great call. Oh, that call didn't go so well. But, you know, obviously what I'm trying to convey here is if we have a big enough reason why we're doing this, that isn't going to stop us or prevent us from continuing to share this with others. So, Rick, do you mind if I call on you after I share one of my whys? Okay, so I have been, as I mentioned, I'm married, and for the last 4 weeks, my husband and I have been apart. I've had to stay home to work, to pay the bills and provide and keep our balances in check, so to speak. And he's been doing his first internship with his physical therapy program. And that is not how marriage is supposed to be. We're not supposed to be apart. And Layton does have several more of these internships coming up. And some of them are going to be a lot longer than 4 weeks. Some are going to be 8 to 10 weeks. And I just have felt like I'm in the hamster wheel, being the only one working and the only one, you know, paying the bills, and just no way to really get out of that. And I really would love to be able to have more time together. And with some of these internships that he goes on, it's not like we can really choose where he goes completely. It's a lottery system. And so I would love if he does get called to one that's far away, like Hawaii, to just be able to quit my job and go with him. How awesome would that be? So I do have many, many whys, but because he's away tonight and has been for a while, that's the one I'm sharing tonight, because it is helping push me through when I get some of the more challenging hits that we do sometimes experience.
Melody, you're an amazing person, and I appreciate your leadership. It is simply amazing. I'm 55, and in the short amount of time that we've been on these calls weekly, your exuberance, your passion as a young person, and to share what you shared tonight about the product and the business has enlightened me, because I have some distributors, people who are in that thought process that you just explained, and that helps me a great deal. So I appreciate that. And so they always say, I have this saying, I don't know where, I think it come from an Amway, big time Amway person, but success is the progressive realization of a worthwhile dream or goal. And you definitely have that goal in mind. And so I appreciate that of you. And so thank you for that and what you're doing for your team out there. And so I know Brian is appreciative of that too. So I guess my why is is centered around my health, I guess, and the ability to talk to people who know what I've been through health-wise, and to share that. And that is a big why for me. If I can help somebody get through that stroke scenario, get through that seizure scenario, and know that there's a light at the end of that tunnel, and you don't have to take synthetic drugs per se. And I know there's probably a time and a place for that medical wise, but I've been down that road, and it was decimating to my health. So I preach it. I'm going to preach it till, just like you, Melody, I'm going to preach it till the cows come home, or I go home, one of the two. And it's about sharing this with people. And when my wife and I got involved a couple of months ago, she knew, being an RN, she knew what it was probably going to do for me. And I didn't see the signs of it all right off the bat, like you had mentioned earlier. And but I had been in other marketing things before, and that's what I saw right away. Not right away, but within a week, I thought, okay, we can do this. And so to share that story, to share those stories, to have people hear stories like yours, it's an amazing thing. So that is my why, and I will share it. I'm going to talk. I talk about it all the time. Sometimes not enough, but so I appreciate again what you're doing for your team there, and it's an amazing thing. And I always look forward to seeing you. Looking forward to seeing you in Orlando, and so go pro.
I'm looking forward to that as well, Rick. And thank you so much for those words of affirmation. You know, I was listening to a Periscope today where someone that I've really gotten excited about following, who I'm not thinking of their name right now, but she said, we need to learn to celebrate the little successes, because sometimes people who have a type A personality or really big goal, we have a tendency to maybe not view some of our small successes because we have a bigger one that we haven't reached. And I could really resonate with that, because really every person whose life we touch, and every just contact that we make, even meeting you, you know, you're already in the business and you're working this with your team and really just blowing it up, and really inspiring others for sure. And it's a blessing for me to know you as well. So it's amazing how this can connect and foster incredible relationships as we work together. Is there anyone else who is willing to share their why and what's motivating them to share this with others?
Hey, everyone is muted, but you can unmute yourself if you want to share. Go ahead, Lori.
I'm really excited about what's been happening. Brian, I can't thank him enough for sticking with me, and Rusty too, and helping me move along. I'm a little slow turtle, but I have a huge family, and they do distract me from time to time. And summer's over, so now I'll get a little peace. But the why for me is my husband and I drive truck. I'm also a registered nurse, somewhat retired, although because I'm such a slow turtle, I kind of have to bring in a little income to supply staying home and working the business, which is fine. I'm happy that I can still use that skill that I have. But my why is really to get my husband home. Melanie, I resonate with you is your word. I like that, resonate. Donald's been gone he'll be gone for 2 months before he gets home this time.
Wow.
We got a real financial sucker punch this spring. Our truck that we had paid off, we have a Volvo I-Shift, it's a big truck. we had that all paid off, expected at least 3 or 4 more years out of it. It just had transmission, and not transmission as much as a rear gear shift, and the crew that we got stopped at cost us $42,000 to fix it, and we said, we need to get a different truck. Who knows what's going to go next? And so, you know, while we're kind of putzing along, we now have $3,000 a month payments. And that just about takes up everything Donald makes on the road, almost. So I have a really big drive now, more than I had before. And I just have to get this done. I just got to get it moving. And I listened. I don't know if you all caught that Periscope that Brian sent out.
Brandon
Cunningham. That was fantastic. That really hit me. And we got to get going now. We can't wait and watch, as he said. We can't watch anymore, Lori. Move it. So, I am. Yeah, that's my why. I want Diane home. I want Donald home. and I really want to get out of this financial burden that I'm under. It's I'll be 60 years old next month. So I don't want to, you know, wait another 10 years and be 70, and hopefully still have good health with my pro tandem. I feel much younger than that. My mind is really much brighter than it was even 6 months ago. And I credit that to pro tandem. I really do. So as you said, I have as a nurse, I have a real burden to share the product. And as a person that needs a real financial change, I share the business. And yeah. Thank you all. I just love this Zoom meeting. I really do. And 23 years old, Melody. That's fantastic. You go get them, girl. We're all looking up to you. You don't have to be young to appreciate a young person. You know, we elders love listening to the wisdom of the youth too.
Amen to that.
Well, thank you for sharing. That's definitely a very big motivating why, for sure. And I can definitely, right back at you, resonate with the financial burden, because school is not cheap and I hate debt. So it's been my goal to use LifeVantage to pay off debt, because I don't want to live any differently until I don't have it anymore. Mike, are you still on the call?
It's okay.
You're muted, Mike. So
Just thinking.
is he on the phone?
Yeah, I think he is.
Okay, I have to unmute him. Which number's his?
I can look here. He might not be on anymore.
Okay.
I don't see it. Anybody else who wants to share their why?
Come on, guys. You're network marketers.
What about you, Bethany?
I guess you just might get background noise. Well, I would say my why is I really want to be able to help our family be able to buy a house debt-free and put ourselves in a position where we don't have to depend on debt.
That's a very, very, very good why. Thank you for sharing, Bethany.
Yeah.
And Brian, if you want to unmute 8668. Okay. So this is Mike, everybody. He's been on
Hello, everybody.
a couple times before, and today he's on my phone. But would you be willing to share your why, Mike?
Sure. It's a long, sad story. I'm one of the older folks on the phone, and I've been with corporate America for almost 34 years. And I'm in information technology, IT business that, you know, everybody thinks is the cat's meow. And if you're in IT, you're guaranteed a career. And so what happens when you're in IT and you get to the later years in your life, you're making too much money, and they can hire 2 or 3 Melodies for what they're paying me. So there's a lot of pressure. I can retire. I can't afford it. We've had my wife's been sick for a number of years, and so that puts a real challenge on even a strong income. And so I can't retire, and they want me to retire. It's subtle, but it's there. And so I want to oblige them. I want to leave, but I want to leave. You know, a lot of people talk about retiring and welcome to Walmart and do you want fries with that. I refuse to live like that. I want to live better in retirement than I do today. So I'm going to do 20 and 30 and try to make this 6 figures within, you know, a year or so if I can do that. So I want to hit it and move on and enjoy life. My gosh, 34 years of high stress and, you know, corporate America. So it'd be great to change it.
Absolutely. And Mike has been such a pleasure to work with. I would love for you to share, Mike, even just how you've experienced, even with having a business focus, the results you've had with getting customers with some of the people who you really didn't think you would.
Yeah, I've been, like several others have said, I've been in a lot of MLMs, and, you know, I thought they were it, you know, I was going to be a millionaire in 2 weeks and all that kind of stuff. So when this one came along, I, you know, said, okay, I just don't want to be in network marketing again. But when I saw the product, I was in the studies and the patents and, you know, all this stuff we talked about. In fact, I was at Chanel's meeting there, and Melody just basically did the product and said, oh, by the way, there's a business if you want to talk about it afterwards. But I saw the product and it's like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. This is unbelievable. So what I'm finding is that the more I learn about the product, it's almost like I just don't have enough time to talk to enough people. Everybody I talk to, and you know, I love to talk. My jaws are always flapping, and so it's really easy. Everybody has an issue. Their feet hurt, their back hurts, their neck hurts, you know, they've got blood pressure problems or cholesterol. I mean, it's just everybody has an issue. And so when you talk to them, like Melody said earlier, if you listen, it's really easy to pick up on something. In fact, somebody just the other night was saying, well, I have this arthritis issue, you know, and I said, well, do you, and she was talking about the doctor and all these chemicals she takes, and I said, well, do you do anything naturally? And she said, yeah, I do this, this, and this. And I said, well, you heard about Protandim? And she goes, no. I said, well, it's pretty cool. You know, I'll send you this ABC investigative report. And it's just that easy. And so it's almost like everybody I meet, I'm thinking, how can I share this story about Protandim? And then there's a lot of people, you know, with the business too, that I've had experience with and met through the years that I just can't wait to sit down and, you know, share this opportunity with them. So honestly, it's like I just don't have enough time to talk to all these people as quickly as I want to talk to them. And it's really tough trying to be quiet. You know, it's like, in fact, I was at the dentist office with my wife today, and there's a lady there, the office manager, that I know is struggling. I really want to share this business with her, but I've been there twice, and it just has not been the right time. It's like I can't wait to talk to her. So there's so much. It's so cool, and we just do have an opportunity that's just unmatched. So go for it. Don't let anything get in your way. People want this. People need this. Everybody needs it. I don't remember who said it. One of our meetings, they said, was it Melody? Did you say that somebody said that this may be more important than penicillin? I mean, think about that, the perspective of that. This would be more important than penicillin. Holy smoking joes. So enjoy. It's a fun trip.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mike, for sharing. It's wonderful to work with you, and I'm glad for the opportunity we've had to get to know each other and just have a good time. What's amazing is that one of these science-only meetings that we had initially, his wife came up to me and was like, well, will this help me? And, I gave the really appropriate response of, it lowers oxidative stress, give it a try. And it's been amazing to see how she has seen improvements with her health too. So I know for Mike, that has been very rewarding because it's so much different than anything he's experienced before in other companies. So thank you for sharing. And we just have a couple more minutes here at the end. And I'm really thrilled that Rita could get on this evening. And I think she's willing to share just before we close this evening.
I think, am I unmuted already?
Yes.
Okay. I think my why has recently changed, and not sure if I'll get to the story without crying, but almost going on 3 weeks ago, I had a little bit of momentum before this happened, and about 2.5 weeks ago, my adopted son called me one Friday evening stating that he had numbness from the waist down. And he started to describe his symptoms to me. And the first thing came to mind was MS. And I shared that with him, and I told him that I thought that he should go to the emergency room immediately. And being a 24-year-old young person, you don't think that it's anything too drastic. It's not really anything you haven't felt before. You felt numbness when your leg has fallen asleep, and you felt tingling before and it's gone away or whatever. And he went to visit a few of our friends before going home, and he ended up going home at midnight. And at about 2:30 in the morning, he started to feel numbness in his right arm. And he immediately called our friends to take him to the emergency room. The emergency room is about 15 minutes from his house. When they got there, they basically had to carry him into emergency. And before they can get him into a wheelchair, he collapsed on the floor. And by the time they got to him and they put him in a bed, I think it was 3 hours later before they really attended to him. He had major pain in the side of his, well, actually in his spine, but he felt like it was in like the side of his neck. And first they thought that he was playing, because they get so many young people that come into Emerge with, high off of drugs, and they have these same symptoms, and they collapse on the floor, and they just want to be medicated and a place to sleep for the night. So they thought that he was kidding and playing around, and they didn't attend to him quick enough. He was in so much pain that he was yelling and screaming, and finally they got him in the bed, and they gave him some pain medication. But I tell the story that as a mother, your heart you feel like your heart is ripped out of your chest, because from just a little bit of experience that I have pro tandem, that this could help him. But because he was being medically treated at the hospital, everyone was afraid to allow him to take this. His brothers, it's a long story how he became my adopted son, not legally, but we took him into our home because his mother died when he was about 14. But anyways, I also called the doctor. I really don't remember her name, but the lady who was on the stage when we were at the last meeting, that has the accent, she was encouraging me, not really not to give it to him, but for, I think, basically for safety reasons, because there was someone who was against him taking it. Just, she couldn't encourage me to do it because there weren't a lot of studies as far as the diagnosis that they had given him. He had been taking it 2 weeks prior to this incident. So I tell you this story to say that not just, I'm realizing from this experience that not just the older need this, but the younger needs it just as much. Because I see the young people falling apart before my eyes. They have all kinds, like the young people that I work with have all kinds of issues and ailments. And I'm like, it's shocking to me because when I was their age, I didn't have those issues. And so my why now have become my children, whereas before it was my freeing my husband. Because, you know, the opportunity now to just walk away from my job and spend as much time as I need to with my son, because he's going to have to go through rehab, is minimal because I have a job. So my why now is to free myself so that I can be more available for my family, just in case this thing happens to another or one of my other children. So it's been a scary experience. It's also been very rewarding, thanks to those of you who knew about it, who've been praying, because God has really been answering our prayers. I sent Melody a video last night that showed that he's up now moving and walking with help, whereas almost 2.5 weeks ago, his whole right side was paralyzed and he couldn't move at all. So as soon as now the next protocol is chemo, which I don't really understand it. It's going to happen tomorrow for 1 hour. And after that treatment, he's going to start on Protandim again. But we've stopped it because we don't want anything that's going to interfere with what they're doing, which I don't believe it would. But we just wanted to be extra careful.
I appreciate if you would uplift their family in your prayers. So,
sorry, Melody, I had you muted at the beginning of that.
oh, well, thank you, everyone. I don't know if you heard what I said, but now that Rita has shared what her family has been going through, I would appreciate if we would all uplift her and her son and all of them as they're going through this situation.
So what was his diagnosis, Rita?
Transverse myelitis.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, it's very rare. It's like 1 in a million get it. You have the same similar, well, it's associated with the paralyzing on one side. So it doesn't have all the symptoms of MS, but because of that one symptom, they're actually treating it as if it's MS. If it was MS or what he has or any other disease that paralyzes you on the right side, if it's a stroke, they treat it the exact same way. Steroids first, and then the Plex, where they put pumps on his arm, which it's almost like a transfusion, but they take his blood out, separate the plasma, and then put it back in and put an enzyme that creates more plasma in the blood. So what they're doing is actually suppressing the immune system, because they believe that it's the immune system that's attacking the spinal column, because they couldn't find a virus or bacteria or anything of that nature. So now the next protocol is chemo. We were extremely against it, and he himself says, no, I don't want to do it. But it's a very low dose of chemo. It's only 1 hour per treatment, and hopefully he only has to do this one treatment. The doctor was saying that there's a small window for chemo with this, and it's between onset of the disease to 4 weeks, and now he's going on the 3rd week. So they're going to give him the 1 hour low dose of chemo, and then hopefully we're done with chemo. Well, I don't know. So Only thing we're doing is just praying, but right after this chemo, we're definitely doing Protandim.
Wow. Our prayers go with you, Rita.
Thank you.
And these are the kinds of things that I'm talking about that life throws at you. I mean, you know, her and Bethany and Timothy and I and, you know, Albert and, you know, a lot of us were there at Anaheim, and it's very inspiring. And as Rita said, she really had momentum going, and then this happened. And instead of allowing that to defeat her, her why has changed. And I think that's beautiful because I've heard many pro trends and many people say your why will change, your why will change. And it's amazing how it can change just like in a moment's time. And I really appreciate what you said about also the need for this to be what we're sharing with young people as well. And I don't need to get into all of the details of my reason for being passionate about that tonight too, but thank you everyone for sharing. I really enjoyed the group participation this evening and everyone who contributed. I enjoy that we have the opportunities to connect like this over Zoom, and also when we go to the conventions as well. So for those of you who will be at the Premier School this Sunday in Michigan, I look forward to seeing you there. And for those of you who are going to Florida, that will be an awesome event as well. And those of you who are going to Kansas City, hope you have a great time there. I'm sure you will be blessed. So be blessed and be a blessing until we meet again.
Thank you, Melody.
Thank you, Melody.
Melody.
Awesome job.
You know,
Well done, sweetie.
talking about the Premier School, we have 3 tickets left, guys, at the cheaper price. So going once, twice, 3 times. All right. So try and invite anyone. You don't have to be a distributor. Let's get everyone that you can. And I'm talking Michigan, but, you know, Rick, same thing with Kansas City. You know, let's get people to the meetings. As leaders, our job is to promote from event to event. Not because we make any money. It just, we've seen what happens when people go to the events. Brandon Cunningham hit the nail on the head. He said, if you want elite type of incomes, you've got to go to the events. Okay? It's going to slow down your business, and you're going to duplicate failure unless you're going to these events. So, you know, I'm just really pumping excited with Melody, with what you shared. And guys, we had 25 squares in here, and we almost had to go to a second screen because we can fill this up and have 25. Well, I have up to 50 people availability on here. So, you know, let's fill this up. Let's keep sharing this. Let's bring in distributors, customers, whoever, and keep making it happen. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate every one of you.
Thank you, Melody. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Rusty. Good to see you.
Bye, everyone.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
You'll be in our prayers, Rita.
Whoa, that was hard on the ears.
That'll wake you up.
Well, I unmuted everyone to give everyone a chance to say goodbye or good night. But
Can I share something real quickly?
all right. I'm going to stop recording here.